of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could ask you to remain standing, Reverend Carruthers will give our invocation.
Father, we come into your presence this evening. We thank you always for the bounty of the days and the blessing of the warm weather in the midst of the fall season. But Lord, we come and we ask right now that you would just provide your wisdom, protection, and guidance to this council. Help them as they endeavor to do the business on behalf of the citizens of this city. And Lord, we think of the public servants who are involved, our police, fire, and public workers who are out in the streets and in the offices, and we look for you to protect them, keep them always safe. Lord, we thank you for your mercies, and we ask what we do in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Clerk, take the roll, please.
Councilman Templin.
Present.
Councilman Cisco.
Present.
Councilman DeGiulio.
Here.
Councilwoman Gabarecki.
Present.
Councilman Rourke.
Here.
Madam Pro Tem McLeod.
Here.
Treasurer Armstrong.
Present.
And Mayor Mategas.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. I'd ask for a motion for approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion.
Moved by Councilman Cisco, supported by Councilman DeGiulio. Is there any changes, additions, deletions? Hearing none, I'll ask.
Wait, hold on.
Correction to the chair, that was a second by Councilman Templin.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I want to separate claims and accounts there.
Without objection, claims and accounts will be treated as a separate agenda item. We'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you. Motion for approval of the minutes of September 12th, 2017.
Motion, Mayor.
Councilman DeGiulio has moved, supported by Councilwoman Gabarecki. And is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Again, that is carried. Thank you. We're at the organizational business, the city administrator's reports and updates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy to be back. I apologize for missing last meeting, but I know the seat was in good hands with Mr. Cady. I'm going to yield a couple minutes to Mr. Bruce
Hammond.
Bruce Hammond. Yeah, you miss one meeting and you forget about everybody. Motion to adjourn. Let's go home.
Senior moment there.
And then if I can get a couple minutes, I'll do my presentation. I'm going to leave a couple minutes, if I could, for Dave to give an update on the new City Hall Police Department project as well.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Here tonight to get the engineering report. And first I'll start with the millage roads that we have been working on. Balfour is complete and it's open to traffic. Also the restoration is finished on that road. We're in the process of developing a punch list for the contractor to finish up. So here in the next couple weeks we'll be hopefully be done with that project and the millage roads for 2017. The other street is Horger. There's just some restoration items on it. The block from Roger to the dead end, we noticed some weeds and stuff like that, so we're in contact with the contractor to help straighten that out for that. The sectioning program that's funded by local and major streets. They're working on Beverly right now in the area of Shenandoah and Moore Avenue. They're replacing some sections, and then they'll be moving on to Carter for a couple sections over there that need to be replaced. There's crack sealing that you all know that was completed on E-Course. That was done on Sunday and will soon be striped. The city, I believe, has received a letter from the Great Lakes Water Authority on a contract reopener. I think they're looking to schedule that. I think I talked a little bit about the last council meeting. That's the city's 5-year reopener. It's time to sit down with them, and there's only really 2 items that you can talk to them about in the contract, and that is what they call basically demands or water demands. One is the max day. That's how much water you can use, how much maximum water usage you can do in a day. The other one is called peak hour, in peak hours, how much water you can use in 1 hour. Those have been in there for the last, I don't know, probably 10 years, and based on, they'll give you the histories and be able to adjust that either up or down, depending on looking at the results and feeling what your comfort level is with what you want to do. I think those meetings are looking forward to be scheduled towards the end of October, is the last I heard. I mentioned at the last meeting that the DPS director and our bridge engineer would be meeting with MDOT. We met with them last week. This meeting was about the quality assurance and quality control of the bridge inspections that are conducted in the city. We went through the bridge files that we have, basically all the records on the bridge. That meeting went well. The only things that we were missing are a couple items in the file, and that was a quality assurance, and quality control plan for the inspections to make sure that they're all being done correctly. So we completed that and came through that fairly well. This Thursday, the DPW director and I will be attending a GLWA 1 partner meeting. This is a new initiative that they're taking to try to, best way to put it is, there's always been two. There's been the water side and the sewer side. And when you had to go to these, when you went to these meetings, the morning was the water and the afternoon was the sewer. The idea now is, so you don't have to sit and hear the same things twice, is combining everything, and then now water and sewer is all one thing called One Water, and that's their new motto, and they got it, you'll see it everywhere from now on, One Water. So that agreement will be basically finalized at that meeting. And then coming up in October 6th, we'll be going to the Wastewater Analytical Task Force meeting. That's also, again, is the Great Lakes Water Authority. I think I mentioned this too at the last meeting. One of the issues that came up with the sewer rates or sewer charges last year and the way they were calculated was based on strength of flow, or simply put as how much sewage is in your sewage. And Allen Park was not sampled in this. They just used a national standard or average for Allen Park. That was one of our complaints, is that, you didn't sample the city. So there's a sampling plan that's going to be reviewed at that meeting that includes Allen Park, and so we'll be placing our input on that and make sure that it is done correctly and we get some good results. So with that, that's all I have. Is there anybody have any questions?
Questions from council? Thank you, Mr. Hammond.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to add one point here. Bruce mentioned a number of times the activities that the city, through Bruce or through Tom Murray, DPS director, has been involved with Great Lakes Water Authority. And I'm also involved in the communications work group, which is stemming from the taste and odor issue back at the beginning of the year, and getting a unified communications outline, so we're all on the same page. If something comes out that we need to distribute to the residents, that all the communities are on the same page. But I think it's important to understand and realize here for the council, for the mayor, for the residents, we are taking a more active approach in working with GLWA. That was something that had not been occurring here for a number of years. And I think when you're out of sight, out of mind, a lot of things change against us, and I think that being at the table and actively participating is important. I hate to see any of us be out of the offices or out of the city at meetings, but I think in this case, this is a very important group that we need to be participating with from here forward.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things I did not, in my absence last week, I did not get to mention, and I know Councilman Sisko would have been all over this one, but a couple weeks ago, the Allen Park Jaguars football team beat my and Mr. Turner and Mr. Cuvier's alma mater, the Melvindale Cardinals. It was their 54th meeting, and Allen Park, I knew there was a lead, but this is astronomical. Allen Park now leads that series, 36 wins, 17 losses, and 1 tie. So, Mike, congratulations to the Allen Park Jaguars to be my alma mater, and that. But that's okay.
You sure that number's right? That 17 wins? You sure that number's right?
I'll have to go back and verify the 17 wins. I know there was one that should have been 18, but the guy ran out of the end zone on an interception. It's a bad experience. So, yeah, that was always the win. I think they called it the Big Brother battle, or the Battle of the Brothers, and Big Brother Allen Park leads that battle. So, just a reminder for everybody, Shred Day is being sponsored by Advanced Disposal. That is going to occur this Saturday, September 30th, from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock at the Allen Park Public Library in the parking lot. Bring your stuff down there. Trying to limit, a lot of people from bringing too much down, but let's be honest, if you've got a lot of stuff at home, you need to bring it down there, bring it down. The truck will hold a ton. We had a lot of capacity last year, so just bring the stuff on down and we'll help get rid of it for you. They will actually, you'll watch them put it into the cart. They use the cart like we use for our trash, 96-gallon container. Put your stuff in there. You can actually watch it go through the hopper, so you can witness it being disposed of properly and shredded there. So there's nothing left after they're done with it. So don't worry that they're just putting boxes in there. They're going to take it away. You'll actually be able to witness its shredding. Bruce hit a number of our items. The hotels, I think Bruce may have mentioned a little bit on the hotels, but they're starting to cut the grade for the parking lots. And again, as a reminder, as we mentioned here, they are looking to hope to open around February. So they are making some great progress over there. And so February, we should see those two hotels open. That's what we're hearing right now. The replacement of the roof at the 24th District Court is slated to begin on Friday. A lot of activity going on at the court in the new City Hall complex. This weekend's going to be rather busy there. They're going to be working Friday and through the weekend on that project as well. The fire department has their open house scheduled for Sunday, October 8th, from noon until 3. Come on down there. You can sit in the fire truck. I don't know if they let you use the sirens. There's head shaking from the chief in the back. I tried for y'all. I'll try to keep pushing for that, but I don't think it's going to happen. So the DDA efforts, they helped us get the Detroit Institute of Arts Inside Out program. They're actually doing a presentation right now at the library on that Inside Out program. But that's where the number of the famous artworks are displayed throughout the community. I think there's 12 different locations. If you haven't had a chance to head out there, I know on the Facebook page for the DDA for the city, and I think there's an Inside Out Allen Park. They have all the 12 locations for those arts and artwork, and they're doing a little bit of interesting information about each piece of artwork as they throughout the month, and that is through the end of October. So we still got a little bit more time. This weekend, DDA is sponsoring the Made in Michigan, and that'll be on Allen Road between Southfield and Philomene, Friday and Saturday. They're celebrating everything Michigan. Michigan craft beers, Michigan made market, the food truck rally, live music, and a guided beer tasting and pizza pairing. I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty interesting. So Friday, they're going to be, shopping is available from 3 to 7. Major Dudes are performing from 5:30 to 7. Liquid 6 from 7 to 11. And then on Saturday, they start at 12 o'clock to 4 for the food truck rally, 12 to 7 for shopping. The guided beer tasting and pizza pairing is from 3 to 4. And the live music that night is going to be Full Speed Ahead from 7 to 11 as well. This one's the next item is pretty interesting. When I pass out the little brochure of what's going on here, the Parks and Recreation Department will be presenting the rededication ceremony of the Allen Park Sports Hall of Fame at the Allen Park Community Center on October 30th at 7 o'clock. The Hall of Fame awards have been relocated to the main lobby of the Allen Park Community Center, Frank J. Latta Civic Arena, so that the stories of our Hall of Fame members can be shared with more people. These were the Hall of Fame plaques were down the hallway. There was a locked hallway. You could barely, I don't think you could get to that on many occasions. So they just kind of were sitting there for nobody to see. Director Hawkins decided to move them out into the main lobby. They are now surrounding the Hall of Fame wall plaque, and all the plaques are on the wall from going back to, I believe that was 1985. So there's a ton out there, and they're going to actually add, I believe, 8 more during this dedication or rededication for those that may have been missed for whatever reason or any time over the course of time. So I think it'll be a nice ceremony. That'll be Monday, October 30th at 7 o'clock at the Allen Park Community Center. The city received a nice letter from Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabry. noting that foreclosures in Wayne County are down 72% over the past 2 years, and he acknowledged the City of Allen Park's efforts to help with the foreclosure problem. I think one of the efforts that we've done here, working with the private group to get those homes back in the hands of homeowners, has really worked out well. It's a plan that I think other communities are starting to look at. I think Wayne County Land Bank is starting to look at that as well, and being able to lock developers or redevelopers into some kind of performance requirements that the city had already put into place. So that contract, I know, was being looked at by others as an example that they would want to go forth in their program. A few weeks ago, I brought Bob Graham, a former retiree here, in to help resolve the trash collection issue in the DDA and other business areas. As you recall, when we went to the carts, the businesses were still on a hand collection. Bob has worked with all the businesses, and they are now using the 96-gallon trash carts and the 64-gallon recycling carts, as all the residents are. We only have 2 businesses issues that remain, and I'm hoping to have them resolved in the next few weeks. But Bob, as most of you know, Bob, probably a lot better than I did before, he has a gift to go out and talk to the businesses. I think he did an excellent job of getting them to understand the process and walk them through all their issues. And so far, everything seems to be going in place properly as we'd hoped it would. Just knowing that it was not going to happen right when we did the residents, and this is taking a little bit, but he's done a great job. And then I'm not trying to push the calendar any faster than it's already moving along for this year, but the City Hall will be closed for the following days for the upcoming holidays. For Veterans Day, we're going to be closed Friday, November 10th. Thanksgiving will be closed Thursday, November 23rd, and Friday, November 24th. Christmas, we're going to be closed Monday the 25th and Tuesday the 26th. And the same for New Year's, will be closed Monday the 1st and Tuesday the 2nd. There was a council meeting scheduled for the 26th, but that was already moved to the 19th earlier this year when the calendar was set. So we don't have an issue on that. And then for the City Hall Police Department project, I'm going to have Dave bring a little update, but real quick, they're doing some interior demolition, is now complete, and they're working on removing the concrete for the plumbing areas and the detention areas, and then next they should be starting on the demolition of the front exterior. But I'll have Dave give a little bit more detail as to what's going on, real brief, so everybody's up to speed on that project as well.
Good evening. Before we talk on that project, actually the contractors outside asked that we do not use this egress door. I know the chief doesn't want to hear that today, but with the fresh asphalt, does wonders to the carpeting, your shoes, and everything else. So if we cannot use this access door today, they did put a cone out in front, but he asked me if I would talk about it at the meeting. Other than that, yeah, at the new project, as you can see as you go by, we have the temporary fencing up. There's going to be some signage put up there probably next week. We're waiting on some road closure signs, and that once we get those signs, Philomene will be closed, except for construction traffic. It'll probably start middle to end of next week is when they anticipated that signage going up. As Mark stated, the saw cutting of the floor has taken place inside. Actually, all the concrete is removed where all the bathrooms are going. Where the locker room is going. The plumber's actually in there working today, starting on some of the underground conduits. He's probably going to be there roughly 4 or 5 days. The electrician will get in there for a couple of days after him, and they thought in 7 to 10 working days they'd actually have the concrete poured back on the interior. Hopefully they can abide by that schedule, because as you know, the schedule is quite tight. They also have, as of 9 o'clock this morning, they had about 50% of the interior temporary wall built. Probably by tomorrow they'll have the rest of that built, which is a steel wall all the way floor to ceiling with a membrane. So when they tear off the front of that building, hopefully starting next week, the building will be weather tight. As you know, we've got the addition out the front half. It's going to be a little bit longer till that's weather tight, so this will allow them to work in winter conditions or in rainy conditions and have the interior of the building secure and dry. They have started some other metal framing on some of the back offices. They've delivered some of the concrete block for the vault so we can store all our dollars in a secure place. That's going on. They are waiting on the door, but they anticipate starting that construction middle to end of next week. The masons have been on site this week, filling in some of the old openings, some of the old window openings or door openings, cutting in the new openings as well. So they're on site. It's really starting to get much busier on the inside and the outside. As Mark noted, on Friday, they will start bringing materials in for the court roof. I did talk to both the administrator and the contractor, and JSVIG and the contractor that's doing the roof have been in communications. We do not anticipate any real issues in that regard. Actually, the contractor that's doing the court roof didn't even think we needed to move the temporary fencing, but we'll see. I don't know if I totally agree with that, but it should not be a problem. We will be updating the website as soon as we can with pictures. Each week, JSVIG takes a lot of pictures. We'll decipher through and see if we can get 10 or 15 on the website. And other than that, I'll entertain any questions that anyone may have. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boomer. Mr. Kibbe?
I'm good.
Could I have a motion to accept the reports of Mr. Boomer, Mr. Hammond, and Mr. Kibbe? Moved by Mayor Pro Tem McLeod, supported by Councilman Rourke. Are there any questions?
I have one.
Councilman DiGiulio.
I got the black barrel. They didn't give me a recyclable barrel at my business. I just don't want one, really. It doesn't matter, but I don't want them to think that I got rid of it and then try to charge me for it at a later date.
Bob did a pretty good job of keeping track of who got what for the contractor, and they do have a serial code for each one, so I'll verify that yours should be all
But since I didn't
set.
get a green one,
Yeah,
am I supposed to have had one?
No, he wanted to make sure, when he was working with the business to make sure that we didn't get containers that people did not want or did not need or you would not use in that case.
Thank you.
I just have one thing to bring up here. On Shred Day, is there a plan of traffic going in and out? Because you have two entrances now that didn't exist before, one on May and one on Champaign.
Yeah, the plan would be to have them come in through the Champaign side and then exit the May side, because there's a traffic light that'd be easier for the people to get out. I think most people are used to coming into the library through the Champaign entrance, and we'll place the truck strategically at that point there. But we know, though, even with signage, we'll have them coming in the other way, but we'll put the truck in a manner that he's not going to interfere with the daily traffic of the library as well.
Yeah, it just seems to me that there could be, because the space is so short to get in, that you might have some traffic problems there.
I'm hoping we have a traffic problem into a roundabout way, because that means a lot of people are utilizing the service. Last year, I think we had a steady flow of traffic. We had some lulls where so don't be discouraged. Bring your stuff up. We'll manage to get you through.
That was it.
And that is free too. I should mention that. That is free to the residents as well.
Okay. The only comment I'd like to make to Mr. Hammond particularly is I did drive Balfour and look, and we really did a great job on the easements on getting everything leveled, and I don't know if the seed was in there yet. I couldn't tell. Yeah. But it, yeah, we must have a new guy from last year. They did a great job. I mean, the street looks great, but it looks really nice and finished, and the way we tied in the drives for the citizens, I hope they're pleased. I know we didn't get it done as fast as some of them would hope, but I think we got it done in the time that we thought was going to be. So it was a well-done job. I'm going to ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. We're at the public comment section. I would just caution people, back of the agendas are the rules of decorum, and if you would use that to guide you in your comments or questions, I would appreciate it. So with that, any citizens wish to come forward?
Dennis Hayes, Carter Avenue.
I wanted to, I don't see it on the agenda, I guess it'll be another week or two, the matter of the inspection business, the ordinance. I think we did a first and second reading, and then I suppose you publish, and then we bring it up again for the final reading.
Correct.
I personally don't object to the idea. In fact, I'm quite in favor of it, but I've heard a lot of objection to it from many citizens, and I think it's only fair to not just have your own particular view, but to share the views of others. But on the other hand, so long as we've had an inspection process for rental properties, it seems patently discriminatory not to have one for the regular homeowners. So in that regard, I didn't mind getting my rental properties inspected. They never come out anyway. I mean, it takes you pay the fee, and 2 years later they might show up. But so that's, I don't know how they're going to inspect these other things if they can't even do the rental ones on time. But I think if you're going to have one, you should have both. Either do it for all or do it for none. So my thought would be, I don't object to it. I just wonder if they'll ever get it done. The second question I had, and I wonder if I could hear from the administrator through the chair. I've heard over time, like last meeting, I won't mention the name, but I've heard this time after time after time. I called, I left several messages, I never got a call back. Now, I'm not going to point fingers, but I guess a question to the administrator through the chair would be, does the city have a policy about our departments responding to citizens? Now, I could argue from my observation that the city's likely default position is that the citizens are rather a nuisance and they probably don't deserve to be called back. Now, I'm not saying that certainly, but I think I get that impression sometimes. But is there, because there's one name that comes up regularly, a couple names that come up time after time after time. I called X, I called Y, I never get an answer. Now that seems to me, in this day and age, with customer service being the marchword of most organizations, that that's entirely unacceptable. At the same time, there are other departments that I've heard where you call and you always get an answer. So I guess I'd like to hear from you, and if you don't have a policy, which I assume you probably do, but if you do have a policy, maybe the follow-up question would be, how come it's not being enforced? So if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go back and look and check to make sure everybody is following that policy. I know there is a couple times that the phone system has not been very favorable to us. In times when you go back in and check there's no messages or something on that front. So not an excuse all the time. If people send emails, I know we try to get those right away as well. For I'll work with the department heads to make sure that they are following back up on those. I lost my train of thought on something. Thank you. I'll think of it after the meeting, though.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Lynn Kettlehut. I live on Cortland, and I'm the president and janitor of Park Avenue Realty on Park Avenue. I'm here to talk about the city inspection just for a couple of minutes. Dave Boomer, I had the pleasure of working with him for many years on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think that our building department does an excellent job. And I'm totally in favor of the rental inspections for the main reason is they're not being sold, they're being lived in by people that don't own them. So we have to kind of watch out for them and make sure that the house keeps up to code. Most Allen Parkers take great, excellent care of their home. We don't have any blight in the city. I mean, everybody has these little messes and stuff, but I think most people take good care of their homes, and we don't need to do an inspection when they sell. I think the city inspection for the rentals, great job. It is in our best interest to keep our housing stock good. We all want our values to go up. They are going up. Our average price is about $125 now. We're getting close to that 150 peak we had, seems like 10 years ago. So we are making progress. We're doing very well. The road improvements. I walked down Balfour this morning on my walk, and the guy, they did those easements to seed. It looks beautiful. I'm jealous of my yard, you know, but I think they did a great job, and they seem to be doing it very quickly. And a lot of people I talk to every day, they're very happy. All of the projects that we've done, That's the way to stop blight, road improvements. The Allen Park Citizens Charitable Foundation is another part that I think is a great thing for eliminating blight. People tell me, wow, the city parks look great. The new playgrounds for the kids, I mean, they just look absolutely awesome. And that's the way to stop blight. And they're doing a great job. I'd urge everybody to go to their annual fundraiser. It's an excellent thing. It's a lot of fun. And they have food and beer, and it's excellent. Businesses need to keep their front yards clean, because your main streets are the face of a city. When you drive down Ecorse Road, Allen Road, you glance and you see the businesses. And Ecorse Road specifically, it looks awful. No one's maintaining the plantings. And when I walk down there, and I walk 5 miles every day looking around just because I'm weird and that's what I do. But if you look at those retention basins, they're full of weeds, trash, and the scuttlebutt I hear is the business owners didn't like the way it was pushed on them. There wasn't any conversation with them, and they're protesting by letting it go, cutting your nose off to spite your face. And if you take a little walk down there and take a look, there's a lot of weeds. I'm crazy. I got Roundup. You go on my block and you won't find one weed. I got flowers in the front, I got flowers in my planter, and I paint that sucker every year because I take pride in Allen Park. I want my values to go up. I want people to feel welcome when they come in. So I would urge all of the business owners, clean it up a little bit. A gallon of Roundup. I'll even buy it for you if that's what you need. But we need to do that. We need to do a better job if we're going to prevent blight. Keep that. Okay, I got that. Now, another way to prevent blight, and I'm going to pick on one particular house. Take a walk down Philomene between Cowell and Fox. Not going to give an address. You don't need an address. This house has been overgrown, rat-infested, rotting away. The neighbors have talked to me, I'm going to sell my house. What do you think? And we look over there, and they're just, it's going to cost me thousands of dollars. Who wants to live next door to that? That house should be condemned. Those are the ways you've got to attack those homes to get rid of that blight. I don't know why that house is allowed to stand.
It's
Take a
before the
walk.
Court of Appeals, excuse me.
I'm sorry?
Last meeting, we discussed that house. It's before the Court of Appeals. We're now waiting our 5th month.
Wow.
With no opinion from the court.
We
won at the circuit. They appealed. And we can't go forward with the demolition without that court order,
Wow.
just so you know.
No, and I was out of town, and I appreciate that comment. Thank you, Bill. Now, about a city inspection, I see some of them downriver do it, probably half. The other half don't do the city inspections. I don't think it prevents blight. It adds another layer of making it more difficult to sell a house. And you're charging people a couple $100 to do a city inspection and have to do repairs, which I'm all in favor of keeping things up. But the main reason I don't think we need to have an inspection of the city is 2/3 of all the sales in Allen Park are FHA and VA. FHA and VA do that inspection. They look for concrete, they look for peeling paint, they look for handrails, ground fault interrupters. They do a very thorough job for FHA, so I don't feel it's necessary for us to add another layer onto that sale price. If you do a city inspection, I'm all for it. I'll help you guys any way I can, but I'd urge you before you vote, yes or no, give me a buzz. It would be nice to talk to someone about this and just give you a few opinions. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and thanks for the great job.
Any other persons wish to come forward? I see none. We'll move on with our agenda. We are going to take claims and accounts as a separate item, so I'd take a motion from the council to put that before them.
Motion. Support.
Moved by Councilman Cisco, supported by Councilman DiGiulio for claims and accounts to be approved. questions there by either of you gentlemen? Mr. Cisco, you moved. You have a question?
Nope.
No? Mr. DiGiulio?
Yes, this here one for $5,622.
Page.
Page 1, administration. The attorneys, it's a labor attorney there, Seacrest, Wardle, and Lynch. And it's for a $5,622 amount. And I'm sure it's about the retirees because we've discussed it before and many times. What do they complain about? They don't want to pay $10, $20, and $30 for their prescriptions? They want to go back to paying $1, $2, $3, and $4? Is that the main problem with that?
Yeah, the lawsuit that the retirees filed against the city was when Joyce Parker changed their health care. It moved them from the Blue Cross Blue Shield plans that they had to Medicare Advantage plans, or to a Blue Cross Blue Shield equivalent to a Community Blue 2 plan. And there was also changes to their drug cards. So they did go from if they had whatever they had at that time, a 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, everybody now has a 10, 20, 30.
So that's the main complaint? They want to go back to $1, $2, $3, and $4 for their prescription coverage? Or they want to change the insurance to their health care?
My guess would be, the point you said there, that they want to go back to the way it was. I think that becomes difficult because those plans don't exist anymore with the change in the Affordable Care Act to change those. So I'm not too sure what the city would be bound to go back to.
Can you tell us what the city has spent so far on this lawsuit?
Yeah, I had Mr. Katie print this off for me a while back. We're at, before this check for the $5,622, we were at $233,000.83.
We spent $233,000, $240,000 with this $6,000 here. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions by council? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you very much. Consent agenda is for the payroll report and for the bottle can drive by the Boy Scout troop to be done on October 8th. Could I have a motion for those items, please?
Motion. Support.
Councilman Rourke is moved. Councilwoman Gavarecki is supported. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Thank you. The resolutions today are the resolution to approve the LiquiForce 100 feet replacement of the water main on Leet Street at a cost not to exceed $66,500 and coming from the Water and Sewer Fund. A motion for that, please.
Motion. Support.
Councilman Templin is moved. Councilman DiGiulio is supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor? Nice to see you, Mr. Murray, but we're going to vote and you're not going to talk. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. Resolution to approve the Pink Diamond at 4939 Allen Road for an MLCC banquet facility permit and Sunday sales permit for banquet and hall events on Friday through Sunday. That motion, please.
Motion.
Councilman DiGiulio is moved. Mayor Pro Tem McLeod has supported. Are there any questions on this matter? You know, I guess I have to ask. I don't know where the Pink Diamond is.
Silver Spoon.
It's the old Silver Spoon, sir.
Silver Spoon
Oh, he
building.
changed his name?
Debbie's.
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 Restaurant. Two old timers.
I'm not as old as some of you.
What was it before that?
Nice try. I remember Debbie's. Come on.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question? I'll ask for the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's carried. The other business would be comments by council members. Is there anyone wish to speak first? Councilman DiGiulio.
I'll go real quick. I've heard the same thing that Mr. Hayes has heard. But I gotta admit, I never have had a problem when I've called Ken Simmerly, Matt Doring. I don't know who Jason Vock is. I've called him too. And, is he somebody new?
No, he's been here a long time.
He has?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the first time I ever talked to him, and he's very attentive to whatever the needs are in the city here. And I want to say something about that Mark Beal. Do you know him from Buscini, is it? Bucelli.
From Bucelli.
I mean, that guy's all over the city. I see him going down Allen Road, down Reek Road. I even see him here on Sunday striping roads, so I want to give him a special shout out. And that's about it for tonight for me.
Okay.
Councilman Rourke?
Just want to welcome the students back. It's good seeing you back, so welcome, welcome. And Lynn, for your blight discussion, thank you very much, because there are some of those businesses out there that I just don't understand how people support them when they can't keep the front clean. So we'll have to deal with that and talk with our attorneys and see what we have to do with some of that type of thing. And then also, Pat, thank you, and congratulate the mayor on the Sports Hall of Fame event. So congratulations to those being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Mayor Pro Tem McLeod?
Yeah, just a few public service announcements. We've already talked about Michigan Fest. Hope to see some of you there. I will be pouring beer at several sessions. I don't drink it, but I can pour it very well. So if you're 21 and over, come by and see me. Also, I've been noticing a flyer for the Historical House Paranormal presentation on October the 18th. I have to say, I meant to mention them earlier from the street fair. They had quite a nice exhibit that was getting a lot of comment from the folks. They had that old carriage down there, and they were taking kids' pictures. I had a gentleman stop by who said he wasn't even aware we had one. He was down here looking at the Lincoln Park because they have the Tucker car exhibit there. So I encouraged him to make contact. So give our home some support and some love. We've talked about Cop on the Block, and please keep your eyes and ears open for that. It's a very interesting event, very well received, and I think the officers getting out into the community and being seen as real people is a great benefit, plus the safety tips that they're handing out, among which is please turn on some lights around your house because DTE only puts out so many street lights in the neighborhood, and with trees and everything else, it can get pretty dark at night. Also, make sure you lock your cars. And one last thing, I'm sure you've seen this, but flip your lids for Allen Park benches. There are collection buckets at the community center and here at City Hall. And we recently got a communication that we have already collected enough for one bench, and that's 400 pounds. So working together, let your friends know. I've got people from other communities who are saving up for me, come to a luncheon, they bring me a bag of lids. So thank you very much. Welcome back, students. Enjoy the weather.
Councilman Cisco?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome all the students back, and Mr. Lloyd, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Mr. Eccleton, good to see you and that young man next to you. You know, one of the things about the Cop on the Block, we've been getting really good crowds for that, and just to amplify a little bit of what Gail said, been getting really good crowds, and people are happy with that. They're happy to see their policemen come to their streets and be able to talk a little bit to them. It's not a long amount of time, but it's 30 minutes, and everybody gets something out of it. But one of the things that has come up a little bit during the Cop on the Block, there's been 4 meetings now, is there seems to be some dissatisfaction with the central dispatch. That's come up at just about every meeting. And I've talked about that before, and I don't know what we can do about that since we don't actually control it. But I think it really needs to be looked into. And when you go to these meetings and people start talking about it, there's obviously a problem. you can hear from me that I think it's a problem, but as the community comes together and we hear these things, that amplifies that problem. And I think it really needs to be looked into, and we should, at some point, have some discussions about that. And I just want to say one other thing. You know, this is kind of a little weird thing, but, you know, Sears Shopping Center, it's been there for as long as I can remember, right? And I do like to shop at Sears, you know, for some things. And over the last year or so, I've been able to go up on the second floor where they have all the big, you know, stuff, refrigerators and dishwashers and washing machines and stuff. And I just want to give a shout out to this little old lady that works up there. And I shouldn't call her, well, she is little, and she is old. So, but I don't mean it disrespectfully, okay?
But she's still a lady.
Still a lady. That's the prime part. She's over 70 years old, and she works in the major appliance department up there. And she's worked at Sears over 20 years. She's still working. And she is an absolute fountain of information. If you want to go buy a refrigerator or anything, any large appliance, go talk to Anna, and she will tell you, and you will feel good after you talk to her. Because she will tell you all the facts that you need to know, good or bad. So, Anna, I know you're probably not watching because you don't live in Allen Park, but I appreciate your knowledge that you have, and I appreciate your drive that you're still working at being over 70 years old. That's it.
Did you buy a refrigerator?
I did. Getting delivered Friday.
Any other council?
I will. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Gavricki.
I just want to welcome the students back as well, and the residents that came out tonight. Also want to congratulate the inductees that are going to be part of the rededication ceremony of the Sports Hall of Fame. If you haven't done so already and get a chance, stop in the community center and you can look at the wall. It's pretty impressive. So it's nice to have those photos back out where they can be seen. Unfortunately, the remodeling of the facility kind of took the spotlight off of that wall, but it's been moved. So thank you to the Parks and Rec director for that. So with that, have a good night, and thank you for coming out.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and, oh, I'm sorry.
Do you mind if I give thank you, Mayor. I've had quite a few people notice the lights in Pocket Park that were recently done. I just want to point out Lucas back there is the one who did it. He initiated it and got her done. I believe he's going to earn his eagle for that, so good job. Also like to recognize Conrad Kozlow, who just recently passed away. Anyone who's been around Cabrini for the last probably 30-some years, either seen him or knows him. He was very dedicated when his kids were there, a lot after, and then even with his grandkids, he was always up there. So, Mr. Kozlow, you will be missed. Also with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. God bless you and good night.
Okay. Again, I thank everyone for coming out. And also I want to thank the committee for the nomination to the Hall of Fame. That was a very great surprise to me, and I'm very pleased to have that honor. With that, I will ask for an adjournment.
Adjournment. Support, whatever.
Mayor Pro Tem has moved, and Councilman DiGiulio has supported. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.